everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing a 2021 Genesis G70 to a 2021 Hyundai Sonata SEL Plus. Now, I know this might seem like an unlikely comparison, but once we get into the video it'll kind of make more sense. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Hyundai Southtown / Genesis of Sandy for providing us with both of the cars. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Let's go into the hoods of both the G70 and the Sonata. Let's start over with the G70. So under the hood of the G70, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 20 around town and then 27 on the highway, with power being 252 horsepower and then 260 pound-feet of torque. Coming over to the Sonata, we have a turbocharged 1.6-liter 4-cylinder that also goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 27 around town and then 37 on the highway, with power being 180 horsepower and then 195 pound-feet of torque. So better fuel economy, less power, more power, not as good fuel economy, front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and that is everything for under the hood. Go over the front end design on both of the cars, starting with the G70. So you've got that Genesis logo front and center, and then notice that the hood is lower in the middle and then it's raised on either side. And then I really like the headlights and the design overall. So you've got the nice projector bulbs for the lights, and then you can see you've got the 2 LED accent lights and then little LED dots on either side, and then you get the lights on the side here that kind of look like little fish gills. Parking sensors all along the front, with the sensor that's kind of like built into the grille, and then a really cool aggressive design here for like the front splitter, front bumper, all of that. Again, kind of reminds me of like a Shelby GT350. But coming over to the Sonata, it has that same like long hood design on it. However, the lights are a little bit different. So you can see that the LED accent light continues all along this little part, and then it basically molds into like a little chrome strip that goes along the rest of the car, so it makes it look like the light is like the entire length of the car. And then notice that the hood is raised in the middle, whereas on the sides it's kind of like lower, so it's the opposite of what's on the Genesis. And then you can see that you've got the Hyundai logo that also doubles as a sensor. No cool lights sitting down in this little area. They've got a lot of fake venting, but overall I think the front end's really good looking, and there's the front end of both of the cars. Now let's go over the tire and wheel setup. So starting with the Genesis, we've got two 25mm tires and 18-inch wheels. Over to the Sonata, we've got two 45mm tires on 19-inch wheels with that. And then going back over to the Genesis, in terms of the design of the wheels, you've got this chrome wheel, which just kind of has like this flower, sun-like type design, which is pretty cool, pretty standard for like a luxury car. Whereas over on the Hyundai, definitely a lot more modern with the design. It's like a bunch of like sharp blade edges, which I think is just a really cool look in general. I definitely give the upper hand to the Sonata in terms of like the wheel setup. And then you've got this like, well, fake venting here on the side. I mean, it looks cool, like it looks really cool, but yeah. Anyways, going to the rest of the side, you can see that everything is actually pretty similar. Other than that little like vent thing, you take that off and the sides of these cars actually look like pretty similar to each other. Obviously this one has like the giant chrome that goes around all of the windows, whereas on the G70 it just has it around the window and doesn't have it like all along the hood. But yeah, the sides are actually, again, pretty similar. Let's go over the trunks of both of the cars, starting with the G70. You can see that the cargo space back here is actually really solid. You guys notice the cargo space is pretty much identical between the two cars. I love the little Genesis floor mats. And then, yes, there is a spare tire underneath in the trunk. But yeah, like I said, cargo space really solid with this car. And then going over to the Sonata, again, you guys can see that the cargo space, again, just super similar, but instead you've got the Sonata floor mats here, and then you don't get a cool tab, but still get a spare tire underneath there. It just looks a little bit different. And that is everything for the trunks of both of the cars. Now let's go over the rest of the rear of both the cars, starting with the Genesis. There's a bunch of like Genesis logos back here. So there's one right there. There's one right there just below the trunk. And then on the sides of the lights, there's another Genesis logo. I really like the LED lights. They are really good, like sharp look in general. They just look really solid. And then the exhaust tips are actually the same on both the cars, which is pretty pretty interesting. You just have them on the side here. I like the whole like rear diffuser, how it's just like in a little bit darker color than the car, so it contrasts nicely. And then coming over to the Sonata, definitely a more futuristic design with the rear, not quite as elegant. This is kind of like Mercedes C-Class look, whereas this is just like complete like futuristic design. The LEDs aren't as like sharp as the Genesis, but it's still like cool that it has like a full light bar back there. And if you don't believe me on the exhaust tips, there they are. And you get a cool rear diffuser here on the Sonata as well. And other than that, that is everything for the rears of the cars. Now going over the rear of the Genesis, you can see that you've got this nice perforated design here with soft padding. We're actually going to rest your arm. Got a little Genesis plaque right there. Looking at the seats, you got nice leather all throughout. It's got pretty interesting piping there with perforations on the seat itself. I don't know why that's there, but we've got more piping on the bottom right here. But let's actually pop in. So stepping in, oh, gotta duck just a little bit. Ooh. Stepping height's not too bad. It's just normal for a sedan. If you guys are wondering, I'm about 5'11", and I fit back here. You guys can see my legroom as well. And then we've got the vents right here. You've got a 12 volt. And then yes, I can move the passenger seat here in the G70. So if I don't like the person, I need more legroom, I can move their seat to accommodate myself. Now looking in the back of the Sonata here, you guys know I really like how this continues with the design onto the interior of the giant like chrome strip that goes along the whole car. And then in terms of the door panel itself, they've got padding here on the side, and then they have here where you're actually going to rest your arms. And then the seats, they look really good. So you can see that you've got the leather with the suede inserts on the seats, just like a really nice design in general. And then you can see you've got the piping with the red stitching as well. Like I said, I feel like it just looks really good. But let's actually pop in. So stepping in, oh man, I need to like I don't know, I need to shrink or something. Again, you guys can see my headroom and then my legroom as well. And then here's the vents back here. You've got a little USB, and then here's the cup holders in the back of the Sonata. Overall, I actually like this interior a little bit more than the Genesis. It's just, I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. Now let's go over things in the front of the Genesis. So you can see we've continued that design of the perforations here with all of the padding. You've got your controls for the windows, your mirror controls, all that kind of stuff. Get memory seats here for the front. And then you can see you've got a couple speakers there for the sound system. And then here are the seats at the front. So you can see, same as what's in the rear, just a little bit bigger on the bolsters. Similar design though. You got all the piping and everything, and feels nice to the touch. Not as soft or as like smooth as what's in the Sonata actually. And then here is the adjustments on the side of the seat. You've got the pedals right there, and then you can see you've got like your lane keep assist, your blind spot monitoring, your little gas cap release, and then the release for the trunk. Steering wheel is automatic, and then you can see that you've got the paddle shifter right there. And, well, let's actually pop in. We're going to go over things in the interior of each of the cars really quick. If you want a more in-depth look, then go check out my Sonata review and then my G70 review. So in terms of the steering wheel, I love the fact that they do smoother leather at the top and at the bottom. And they got the nice perforations on the side. Notice that all these controls, when we go over to the Sonata, everything's going to be the same on the steering wheel, including the stalks behind the steering wheel as well. Now with the gauge cluster, the G70's gauge cluster is a little bit more old school is what you're going to notice. Again, you do have the drive modes though. You have a little bit more in terms of drive mode customization compared to the Sonata. So you actually get a smart and an eco mode, and you get the comfort and custom and then sport. Whereas you guys will see in the Sonata, I'm pretty sure it just only doesn't have the eco mode, but it has all the other drive modes. And then you guys will see the animations in the Sonata just look a whole lot better, whereas this just kind of makes it red, like when you go into the sport mode, for example. And then coming over to the screen, no, we don't have to worry about fuel. But you guys can see the infotainment system, really easy to use. Response time on it is relatively good. You get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Here's what the backup camera looks like on the infotainment system. And then you can see you got trajectory lines as well with that. So overall, pretty good system to use. And I like the little driving info because, well, if you're a bad driver, then it'll let you know. And then you can see you got nice like stitching down here. You've got your vents here at the bottom portion, and then you can see here you've got all of your radio controls. You've got your climate controls. It is a dual zone climate. You do get heated seats as well here in the Genesis. And then you can see you've got a little charging area. We've got some USB, a 12 volt as well. And then if you don't want to see that, just press that and that'll cover it up. Here is the shifter, pretty straightforward. You got your push in for park, up for reverse, pull down for neutral, and then you pull down and press the button in for drive. Pretty easy system to use in general. Here's the drive mode select. You got your auto stop start, stability control right here, your parking sensors, your auto hold, and then the parking brake. Couple of cup holders, and then here is the center console, which you can see you got nice stitching on it, pretty normal. And then coming over to the glove box, you can see again it's lined with felt, normal, but notice again all the stitching and then the soft touch here on the dash. And then we can see here at the top you've got the little sunglass holder, and then it does have a sunroof, so it opens up automatically. I'm not going to open it up all the way for this video, but you'll notice that this is smaller than what is in the Sonata. And speaking of the Sonata, let's actually pop over there. Now coming over to the Sonata, notice that they continue that theme of this whole like line that goes to the door handle, and then you got the same soft touch all over the door as well. And then notice you've got your window controls, your mirror adjustments, all that. A couple speakers for the sound system. It is the Bose sound system in this car. And then the seats here at the front, I really like these seats, especially compared to the G70. I just love the Alcantara there in the center, and then I love the red piping, and the leather here is just so much smoother, just feels a whole lot nicer. There's your adjustments on the seats, and then here's what the pedal layout looks like. And then over here you've got your lane keep assist, your parking brake right there, and then you've got your stability control, and then the release for the trunk. So all pretty similar, and you can see even the paddles look pretty similar too. But there's one more look before we actually pop in. Now, like I said, in the G70, if you want a more in-depth look at the interior, again, go check out my review on the Sonata and the G70. But you can see that all of the controls in the steering wheel, even the paddle shifters, all that's the same. The design's definitely different. The design down here is different, and you can see that they do the smooth leather at the top and the bottom and the perforated on the side. But yeah, like literally all of the elements on it are the same. And then coming here into the center, like I said, definitely a lot more modern with the look of it. Like the functionality is the same as what's in the Genesis. This just looks a lot better because it's a digital gauge cluster. And then you really notice it in the drive modes. So like for example, look at that, when I go into the sport, and then when I go over into the custom, it has really cool animations, and it fully changes the screen because it's not analog, it's actually digital. The only one that's not cool is the smart. So when you actually go into the smart, it just doesn't do anything, which like, it's like, okay, cool. But the sport, it's like, well, bam, right in your face. But anyways, coming over to the screen, you guys will notice that the screen's actually bigger compared to the Genesis, and it's kind of more of like a sideways orientation. It's really easy to use. Touch response time is actually a little bit better on this as well. And then looking at the camera, I feel like the camera quality is about the same between both the cars. I'm not really noticing a difference between that. The cool thing that this has is it's got the sounds of nature, which you can press, and it is exactly what it sounds like. So if I turn on the volume, yeah, you get it. You get the sounds of nature, which is pretty cool. And then you can come down here, you've got a couple of vents. You've got the climate controls. It is a dual zone climate here in the Sonata. And yes, you've got the seat controls as well. So if you want to have the heated seats on, you can turn those on. It's all digital right there. And then you can see you've got a bunch of areas where you can charge stuff with USBs, wireless phone charger. And then the gear selector is a little bit different. So it's a bunch of buttons that you press to go into the different gears. Pretty straightforward, just a little bit different than the Genesis. Your drive mode select here, you've got your auto hold, a couple cup holders. Then you got the center console with the stitching. And then coming over to the glove box, you can see normal glove box. And then they actually give you some like stitching here on the dash as well. And then up top, like I said, the sunroof is definitely bigger. Sorry, my camera's not adjusting, but you guys can see the sunroof goes all the way to the back. So it's definitely a lot larger, lets a whole lot more light into the cabin. We're gonna close that up, but you get a little bit better sunroof here at the top. Now let's quickly go over pricing on both of the cars. So the Sonata stickers for just over $30,000 for any type of market adjustment, and then the Genesis G70 stickers for about $43,000 before any type of market adjustment. So there's about a $10,000 to $13,000 price difference between the two cars, depending on how you spec them out exactly. Now, just like always, we do have to pick a winner for today's video, so let's quickly go over the high points and the low points of both of the cars. So, first and foremost, with the G70, it's got all-wheel drive, it looks good on the outside, and it's got better power and performance. but worse fuel economy, obviously, and the interior is not as nice. Going over to the Sonata, you can see that, again, the looks are really solid. The power and performance isn't as good as the Genesis, but it gets better fuel economy. The interior and technology is a lot nicer, and it's a lot less expensive. And so I want you guys to comment down below before I make my choice which car you would pick. And the car that I'm going to pick for the winner today is going to be the Sonata. I feel like it's just a better value all around, and it's crazy that this is the non-luxury variant, and the interior, in my opinion, looks better than on the Genesis. You guys can let me know on that, but the Sonata wins for today's video. Now, that is going to sum things up with our comparison between the Genesis G70 and the Hyundai Sonata. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Genesis of Sandy / Hyundai Southtown for providing us with both the cars. Check out them, turn the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.